morning, folks. Welcome to JLJ This Morning. I'm your host, James Lott Jr., the JLJ of JLJ Media, and we're here giving your daily dose of inspiration and thoughts. Yes. This episode, I'm bringing someone who's on another show of mine, but I'm bringing her into this universe, JLJ This Morning universe, because she's lovely like I am, and we like the mornings, and we have things to talk about. Miss Stacey Shields, author Stacey Shields. Hi, Stacey.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. We're waking up. It's going to be a good
Good. Yes.
Right?
Coffee's in hand.
It's right back there. It's crazy. So, folks, go ahead and like the page, JLJ This Morning, on Twitter, JLJ This Morning, and just go ahead and like those. And then we have all these interviews, all this stuff that came out. Go to JLJ on YouTube, JLJ Media, or go to any streaming platform and listen to us. We're going to hear in your ear holes. Yes. So, Ms. Stacey, good morning. And well, you and I both have done this, and some of you out there have done it, so some of you out there are thinking about doing it. We've created content. We have content out there. We have content in the
for the whole world to see.
So, folks, we did an episode of my show, In Between Pages with James Lott Jr. We celebrated 3 years yesterday. We had a big celebration last night. Thank you. So 3 years.
Congratulations.
Talking to people who create content. So it's a little smaller portion of that. She's been part of several books and telling her story. It's actually they're not fiction, they're nonfiction, telling her story. So her creation of her content was from personal experience. I'll talk about this on the other show a little bit. But as we get into this, how hard did you find it to write about personal experience, put out for the world?
I just felt a little flutter right now.
Just right.
Going back to that moment and thinking about, am I really going to do this? Should I do this? Why should I do this? Just all these questions. What repercussions is this going to have, not only on me, but especially on my children and my parents and all the people that are a part of my story? And I would say God had planted a seed a couple of years ago, like, okay, you've gone through all these things for a purpose, and it's to help other people. And that part wasn't the secret. The seed was to be able to actually put the pen to paper or fingers to the keyboard and publish the information. And that would include some of the abuse I went through, how I responded to that, et cetera, et cetera. And it was a process until I did have to go through a process until I was able to confidently know, okay, this is exactly what I need to do, and this is how I need to do it.
Yeah, I have 2 books that are nonfiction that are out. One's called "Who Put the Funhouse Mirror in My Bathroom," and that one was about weight gain and weight loss. And I talked about how I felt in those moments of feeling despair, feeling unattractive, feeling not healthy. I mean, it was like, do I want to write this? Do I want to really get this
personal? Yes, your innermost, deepest thoughts. That's very personal.
It is. And so we're going to talk about the overcoming part, but just the part of I'm going to write this, I'm going to put it out there. And anyway, we put anything out there, whether it's nonfiction, fiction, it's still scary because it gets scrutinized and people go, oh, I don't like it, or you're a bad writer, or whatever. They say
exactly. It's you and the way you think. Even if it is fiction, it's your thoughts and your thought process are potentially scrutinized. And trust me, we all know there will be people that are right there to scrutinize, but we don't think about them.
No, we don't. And so for you, how did you overcome some of those? What were some of the techniques or things you went through to overcome some of those voices?
Yes, so there was a few things. First of all, I was able to listen to the message, the inward, the voice that I was hearing, and meditate on that. And I also had to forgive the people who hurt me.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Before I was able to tell my story. And this is very important because telling the story about me is about my experience and not blaming and shaming the people that abused me. And writing from a forgiveness standpoint is so transformational and so freeing and so healing. And in order to help people get through things, I also had to get through things. So if the purpose of my writing was to just tell the story, and this is my story, and oh, woe was me, and I'm the victim, and I was abused, and I had all these terrible things happen to me, that would be one thing. The message of my story is how to heal from that. And so part of that process was to heal those people and also heal myself. And I also sought counsel. I spoke to other people who had done the same and said, this is the message I'm getting. This is what I think I need to do. I'm afraid. So my mother, who, when I was a child, had abused me, she had allowed abuse to happen from my stepdad. She had passed away. And I was very concerned. How am I going to honor my mother, whom I had reconciled with before she passed? But that doesn't take away the abuse that had happened and how it affected me my entire life and still does. It made me who I am. And I just wanted to be able to honor her in my story. And so the way I was able to do that was to just be honest, state the facts. This is my story. This is what she was experiencing, of course, understanding that she has her own limiting beliefs and things that she was going through as well. And also to believe that she would also want to help others. And if that meant telling the story, then that's what it was. In addition, I had to keep into consideration my living father and my 3 children and my relationship with their father, who I'm divorced from. That was the trickiest. So I did keep in mind that whatever I said about my ex, I'm speaking about my children's father. I'm very, very, very cautious about not bad mouthing their father, good, bad, or ugly.
I know, right?
I'm their mom. He's their dad. And so after I had gone through the healing process, I was able to just state my experience in a way that wasn't degrading to him. And another process that I had to go through was self-love, right? To just not need other people's affirmations. Oh, good job. Oh, your story meant so much to me. Oh, thank you for doing this. So if we rely on external affirmations for our own self-worth, we're going to be very disappointed in life. It's actually our responsibility to love ourselves and to know that we are worthy. And so I had to go through that process. And that was part of my healing process as well, before I could actually be confident in knowing this was the right thing to do. And this is how I'm going to do it.
It's tough not seeking outside validation. It's tough not, when people say love yourself, you're like, okay. You don't understand that really is the key, that you really can't rely on anyone else in terms of, it may temporarily make you feel good if someone says, good job, you're a wonderful person. That makes you feel good in the moment, but
Yes.
you're with you all the time.
Yes.
Don't separate from you. You're together all the time, and so you're the one that's to take care of your. I always say it's liking to a refrigerator or stocking shelves. Whatever. It's always restock your shelves, which is you, and
Yes.
that goes through mind, body, soul, spirit, all of that. So I love when you said that. It's like you kind of have to figure out a way to go. Okay, I'm doing this because I love myself and I want to do this. I want to come a place of I've accepted the things that have happened to me, and now I'm just the conduit sharing the story. Is that kind of correct? Am I going in those directions?
Exactly. So when I tell my story, when I told my story in the past, it would be emotional. It'd be like, you wouldn't believe he beat me on the bare butt, blah, 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 leather belt in front of everybody. It was just like I was just reliving it all over again. And now I don't have the emotion because I've healed the emotion and I can share, this is what happened and this is how I felt. And this is how you can overcome abuse as well. And something you said made me think, if you speak out and admit the good, bad, the ugly, nobody can use that against you.
Oh, yeah.
So if
Right.
and another thing that I've realized, especially in coaching many more clients, is no matter what our gender, race, background, religion is, we are all people. We all have similar limiting beliefs, and we are all affected by parents and influences, and we all have our own level of trauma, and that's okay. So it's actually really nice to know that you're not alone.
It is, and that's why these books are important, or these
Mhm.
shows are important, or these
Yes.
dramas or whatever, they're important because it shows you're not alone. Because we do feel, again, you can't escape yourself, so you're
No.
all with yourself. So it does feel like you can be alone. You can feel like you're alone. I know what it feels like to be in a group of people and feel alone. It happens very easily. People don't.
Yes.
It does happen. Um,
Yeah.
Surrounded by tons of people and feel
Mhm.
completely alone. Uh,
Absolutely.
so
1000%.
you have to find a way to restock yourself, take care of yourself
Mhm.
in situations like that, because it's tough. It's very tough. And as I
Yes.
said, that's why I'm stuck on this section right now, because it's
Okay.
very important, because we have to learn how to find that, because we can't go forward, you can't move forward, you can't, these days,
Mhm.
talk about things in a very objective way that's fine, that doesn't make your blood pressure go up, or you get a lump in your throat, or I mean, occasionally there are things. I mean, I've had some horrific things happen to me in my life, and I've talked about them publicly, and there were
Mhm.
times when I fell apart telling the story, and there are times when I'm fine telling a story because I'm just telling a story.
Exactly.
So I mean, it's sometimes it's any given day. We're all human. It may just feel close to you that day or something. But like
Yes.
you, for the most part, I can kind of talk about things I've went through with much more calmer eye, calmer voice. But I had to work on it, like you. I had to work on it. It just doesn't
Yes,
just
exactly.
wake up.
Exactly. And for most of my life, I didn't know how to love myself. And for me, after I had children, I would think in the perspective of, would I want my children to feel bad about themselves? No. Do I love my children even though they make mistakes, or when they're just learning how to spell or play an instrument or to drive, and all these different things? And it's like, if I would extend that love to somebody else, whether it's a friend or a partner or a child, why don't I deserve that same love? And so in my mind, I've had to kind of pull out of myself in an observer role and think of it in that way. Like, do I want somebody that I love to feel bad about themselves, or do I want them to love themselves? I want them to love themselves. Okay, so I deserve the same, and they
I,
want me to love myself
I have a
as well.
question. I have a question for you on that.
Mhm.
People are taught. I'm trying to use my words carefully. People are taught that once you become a parent, it's all about the children. That is the general thing you're taught. Well, once you become a parent, you go on the wayside, you're a back burner. Or they'll
Mhm.
tell like mothers,
Yes,
especially the next 18 years, it's all
yes,
about them. Then you can wake up and
yes.
see yourself. That's all a lie, right? That's all kind of a lie. You don't just give up on
Well,
yourself
actually,
completely.
no, that is a personal choice.
Okay, tell me. Okay,
So many mothers and some fathers,
that's
we're
right.
not going to exclude dads, many parents
That's true. You're right. That's true.
do make it all about the children, and that's their personal choice. And when they choose to make it all about the children, there's several negative repercussions
Yeah, yeah,
to doing
yeah.
that, and that's a whole other story.
Oh, so yes.
So like I had said earlier, it's our own individual responsibility to make sure that we are taken care of. And of course, if the saying is so cliche, like, well, you can't take care of other people if you don't take care of yourself. Okay, well, what does that really mean? If you just stop in the moment and just think about that, it may mean that you might have to take a minute away from the kids,
Yeah,
right? Like
right.
in another room, of course, we want them to be safe. It may mean going to bed when they go to bed instead of dusting or vacuuming or whatever the case. And so there's many different ways that we can take care of ourselves. And I do agree that most people do sacrifice their own individuality when they have children because they feel that that's the right thing to do. I do see a shift in that as well. And when the parents are their own individuals and they are able to demonstrate to the children how to live a full life and how to have self-love and how to do self-care, because we want them to do these things and we teach them to do these things, but actions definitely speak louder than words. And they always are watching when you don't think they are. As a matter of fact, my youngest daughter had used some adult grown language, not cursing, like mature adult grown language that she had heard me. She had overheard me talking to people, friends, maybe this conversation, she's not here now, but it's a perfect example. And she came to me and she used this mature adult language that I knew it had come from me because I'd been saying this all along, not to her, but she's listening. Right. So they're taking it all in. And also, we give off energy, like electrical, no kidding, measurable energy. And I know you can feel when you go into a room. Last night you had all this excitement, right? If we were to even join your Zoom, we'd feel the excitement and the energy of the celebration. Right. Or if you go into a room where like two people have been fighting, like you can just, it's like described as a brick wall, like you can feel it. And when we exude positive energy, our children are going to also connect with that, relate with that, and feed off of that as well. So that's very important that we take care of ourselves.
Well, I was going to say, because I know it's a whole other guy. I knew I would talk to you. We can talk 10,000 different things. But JLJ this morning, it's my show. I do what I want. There's the thing about you said something that just totally hits me really strongly. The number one thing, of course, you put, like you say, on a plane, you put on the mask on first, and then your children. Everybody think it's the weirdest thing, but it's like, no, in a way, it's kind of like that's the point. You can't take care of them, whatever. But secondly, that's one analogy. That's one thing I always think about.
Yes.
But secondly, kids watch you.
Mm-hmm.
They are
like this on the games. They're ping, 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 like they've got you in their sights, even though it doesn't appear that they are.
Right. So you said something that I tell all the time. That's why I go back to the whole even self-love while being a parent, and why it's apparent that you should be doing that for yourself. I know it's a little punny. But it's because kids see that and they're learning how to be an adult through you, right? They're learning. I say, because I remember my parents, when they were latchkey kids, so they weren't home as much. But when they were home or on the weekends or whenever, you're like, you see them the way they fight, the way they don't fight, the way they talk to their friends, the way they eat, the way they don't eat, what they, you want kids to watch everything. You said your words, they hear your words. You're maybe on the phone with your girlfriend, talking trash about some girl down the street because you're adults, you could do that. But the kids are in the next room, you're thinking they're watching TV, they hear exactly everything you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
And later on, you find out.
Right. They're sponges.
They are. I just know that when I years later, my daughter said a few things, threw it back in our faces. I was like, oh, got it. Okay. You're still wrong because you don't do as I do, so I say. But we got it. So I tell my daughter for the grandkids, be careful what you do and how you appear, because they're watching all the time. I say it all the time. So
yes.
So you saying that just maybe remind me of that and why self-love is important.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I have also learned in the last couple of years how to set more boundaries with my children. It used to, actually, I was talking with a friend about this last night. It used to be when my children were with their dad, I kept my phone handy in case there was an emergency. I had to answer the phone, had to answer the phone. Now that they're older and I've healed myself, it's a process. We're always continuously healing ourselves, but and I've learned to set boundaries. My phone is on do not disturb right now, and I only thought of it because I'm talking about it. I'm not even, and my children are not with me, and they had to learn mom won't necessarily answer the phone or text back right away now. And so in me doing that, and that's part of my self-love, it's teaching them boundaries, how to set the boundaries as well. So it's just a little example.
No, I know. It's just so true. Okay, so okay, now I'll tie it back in, everybody. I swear to pieces. I'll tie it back in. So, but I just love these kind of talks and just I love it. So
I know.
I know this is us. This is what's going to happen. Every time she comes on, it's what's going to happen probably. And this is still good stuff, folks. It's all good stuff.
Yes.
So now we're trying to find the self-love, trying to find you're building the courage. It is courage to
Yes.
tell your story. It's
Mm-hmm.
courage. I say anybody who does it, large, small way, whether it's positive, negative, whatever, you're putting yourself out there to the world to be judged.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yes.
That's brave.
It's very honorable. Yes.
Yes, it's very valuable, and I think you need to do it. So, for you, we talked about it a little bit on the other show, but folks who didn't watch, they can say it here. You decided to join this book. You can overcome anything. Despite barriers in life. There's the first one. I'm right there in the corner, and she's down.
Yeah.
She's down there. You're right over there. So she's two below on the corner. My picture was done by my guy, Doug Frericks. He's a great photographer.
Yeah.
But no, so that book, so she chose to share some very personal stories in there. So you went from, okay, now I'm going to do this. You figured out I'm going to try to do my best to keep my living father and my children in mind, yet still tell my story to be effective. When you started writing, what did that feel like? Was that a hard process?
That was scary. It was. I'm just going to be honest at first. So, well, it was kind of in between. When I thought of it as like a journal, it wasn't as scary.
Oh, okay.
But when it came to editing and actually making a plan, and instead of just like vomiting on the paper,
right,
and putting it out as things came to me, when it actually came to putting things in order, that's when it became more real, and that's when it became a little bit scary. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was very nervous, although I knew it's what I had to do. It's what I was called to do. After doing my research and healing and praying and consulting others who have done the same thing, like I knew 100%. And we do a lot of things in life afraid, while we are afraid. And I would say there was a little bit of fear when I published this book. And especially when I told my dad, "Oh, your daughter is an international best-selling author now. By the way, you might not want to read it."
Yeah, right. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So how do you have that conversation? That was kind of an awkward conversation.
That would be,
and,
right.
And then I have two sisters. So one of my sisters read it before publishing as well. And I wanted to check in with her as well. And she agreed with it. She was in agreement with it. And the youngest sister, she didn't even want to have anything to do with it because she had lived through it once. So, and that's okay. They support me in their own ways. Right. So one is like, "Congratulations, I'm happy for you. I'm not going to read it." And the other is like, "Okay, let me read it and see what it says." And then, she had to get her own comfort with that. And I gave them both that access before publishing, because it is my story. It's my story to tell. And I love and respect them because they had the same parents I did.
Okay, I understand that. I understand that. Actually, that's very generous of you, because most people wouldn't do that. They just go, "I'm going to put it out and screw y'all. Y'all just deal with the fallout." That was very kind of you. I believe in people. You should always walk with kindness. I always say kindness, care, compassion, concern. You should always kind of walk through life with those C's and K's and C's. And kindness is a K, but the other ones are all C's. But I always live by that, just kind of like, and how I navigate life. Because I do want them other people and their feelings,
right?
But still honor myself. And
yes, I did not compromise my story in any way.
There you go.
I didn't, and I didn't need permission, but I respect them.
Yeah.
And so I just asked, "Would you like to read this?" And one said yes, and the other said no, and that's okay.
No, but that's a good point. You weren't asking for almost validation, but still respect. Here you go. You have the offer. If you do like it, great. That if you, like I said, you want to read, it's okay. I totally get this. Great. But you're still happy with your story, right? That you've written.
Oh yes, absolutely. And I didn't put anything, I was of course, I mentioned my sisters. They are part of my story, but I didn't go into any detail about their lives or their thoughts or, I didn't tell their story. And that is another key thing in writing your story, is that it has to be your story.
I agree.
Not your sibling's story, not your children's story, not your parents' story.
Well, I feel they thought, no, you don't say all that. You don't do any of that.
Or even they told me.
Right, exactly. It's what I heard, or I felt this, or I observed that. That's how you go from a place of first person. I know I remember that too when I was writing away. Don't write, don't do that, because then again, it will also legally set you up for things too. Like, I never said that. You're saying that's slander.
Right.
So there's still things there too. But also, you really want to stay true to your story, and it keeps you focused. It keeps you focused as you're writing it, because then you're not writing all these other stories, so to speak, to fill your book. Like, no, I'm writing my story. Why is it? Oh, what happened over there? What's going on? It's live. What's going on?
My dog was barking. I apologize.
Oh, that's fine. Everybody knows we're at home. That's what happens. Dogs, babies. I'm shocked. There's times when a cat comes through, and I'm like, okay, well, a cat comes through.
Okay, I'll just let her bark then.
We're almost finished anyway, but I learned that for things that nowadays we're on. This happens on network TV, because now we're all at home. We're even playing field at home. And as things start to open up again, hopefully we'll be in studios and things. But that's how it is. It's life. You live in life. Dog needs to be heard. Dog must be heard, I guess.
She wants to be heard.
I love animals, so I have no problem with the animals.
Okay, thank you.
So the books are out, folks. You can overcome anything. She's in volumes 1, 2, and 3, sharing her stories. And they're really good. You should check them out. There's in one book there's 16 of us, another there's 17, another one's like 12 or 13. Some great stories. I mean, some really great stories. And I'll have Stacey back on this show, of course. We have all kinds of topics we can talk about. We already started talking about 2 or 3 other topics on this topic. But this is just your morning dose of hello, and give you something to think about. We're here to give something to think about. And if you're thinking about creating content that's personal, talk to her. Talk to me. You can. Right now, she's going to tell you where you can find her, and you can maybe talk to you, some advice. So, Stacey Shields, tell me they can find you.
Yes. Okay. You can find me on Facebook, Stacey Shields, or my email is Stacey Shields. It's with an E, STACEY SHIELDS 2020@gmail.com. I would love to speak to you. If you are considering creating content, I say go for it. Just go for it. Talk to other people, just like you would anything you do. Talk to somebody who's done it before and see what they have to say about their experience and what they had to go through, and learn from them. And it's very, very rewarding, especially when you can connect with other people and help other people.
I agree. And you can ask me. I'm also we're both coaches. You can also I have a life coaching practice. ALOTOFHELP.com. That's LOTT. I use my last name and everything. So ALOTOFHELP.com is my website. It's a lot. I'm a lot. It's a whole lot.
Use it a lot.
It's a lot. That's right. And she will shield you from negative energy. There you go.
Absolutely.
All the last names. But you follow me. We're all James Lott Jr. Sold at James Lott Jr. on all platforms. So please, JLJ this morning is here for you every morning to give you a little dose. Thank you, Stacey, for joining us this morning. Everyone, please have a good day today, and find a way to love yourself today, and do something loving for yourself today. How's that?
Absolutely, 1000%.